confident, sophisticated, responsible, and proud to be Filipino. Every month, I will feature an overseas fabulous Pinay. Stay tuned and let's get fabulous! Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Ovfabpinays podcast. My name is Donna Kunzler, and for our episode today, I'm featuring Sunshine Asuncion See, who is an entrepreneur based in Canada. Welcome, Sunshine.
Thanks, Donna. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, I'm so happy that I could have you in my podcast. So, how's it going?
It's good. It's starting to get cold here in Toronto. I actually brought out our puffy jackets today.
Oh my God, already.
We went from nice and sunny to sunny and chilly. All So yes, we're starting to get used to the cold weather all over again.
Oh my God, that's true, huh? It's the same here in Switzerland. Well, we
Sure.
are still enjoying the remnants of summer, but then I think next week it will also start to get cold again. Yeah,
Like it's just gonna drop.
yeah. So tell me, you have lived both in US and Canada.
Yeah.
So which was first, and how was your first overseas experience?
So
When
my
was
first,
it? Yeah.
so the very first move was back in 2001, right after 9/11. Right?
Mhm.
That happened in 2001, right? So we moved more because my dad said, you know what, the economy is not going to get any better in the Philippines. You might as well just, start your life in Canada. And so I moved, and I didn't like it one bit. Like I had no friends, no family, so no connection. I mean, we had family, but not in the same way that we had it in the Philippines, diba?
Yeah.
The connection just wasn't there, and I just found like, why do I have to move here? And so I resented that whole stay. I think we were here for a couple of years, 2 years. And then an opportunity presented itself in the US, and that's why I said, you know what, I'm gonna grab it. And I loved it. I was living in California, so the weather was always nice. There was no snow, but I enjoyed. I think I was there for like 3 years, and we met up there a couple of times.
Yes.
And I just enjoyed it there, just because I think of more of the weather, and I was around. How do I say it? I had more friends there. And so I enjoyed that. But then I moved to that was my first move back to the Philippines. I think it was in 2007, 2008.
All right.
Around there.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was my first move back to the Philippines.
But when you moved to, in retrospect, when you first moved to Canada versus when you moved to US, what was different, or what were the key learnings, that, maybe could have improved your first overseas experience, you think?
I think it would have been good to study just the weather to start with. I mean, moving from the Philippines, right, where it was summer all year long, pretty much, moving to a country that all of a sudden you only have 6 months of sun, and then the rest of the year it's just cold, freezing, and it can get depressing, right? So that was my biggest issue, and looking back, it was always, I didn't want to buy puffy clothes. I didn't want to get the right jacket. Right?
I share the same sentiment. I hate the whole layering,
Exactly.
It's so uncomfortable with the gloves. Yeah.
And parang you can't put you're layered underneath. So you have your sandal, you have your shirt, you have your sweater, and then you have another thick something, and then you finally put on your puffy coat, right? Then you have to wear a hat.
Scarf. I still hate wearing a scarf during winter, but you really just do it because you don't want to get sick,
And you have no choice, right? And so my first stay here, I really I fought against it, in the sense that I was just like, I'm just gonna wear my sweater, I'll be fine. But I was miserable the whole time, and I think that's a major contributor. Na parang I'm just gonna go look for somewhere else to live. And so when California opened its doors, I'm like, yes, perfect, right? You're still living in America, North America, with Philippine weather, pretty much Philippine
Pretty
weather,
much, yes.
right?
Yeah. I mean, the cold climate is still mild, compared to where we are right now.
Yes. And so so I like looking back now, actually even on my second return to Canada to live here, I already knew that, okay, I had to be dressed properly, like, coat, like, just, the right thickness. And even then I was being kuripot. Like, I'll choose to go like Old Navy. I'm like, I'm happy with this. It's nice and puffy. And John would be like, that's not gonna keep you warm. That's only gonna keep you warm for 5 minutes, and you're gonna be cold. And then I ended up getting a better jacket, more expensive, and it did the job. So, my first thing is you have to be dressed accordingly to where you're gonna live, right? I mean, you can't be dressing like Manila style, flat shoes, jeans, and a thick sweater, because it's just not gonna cut it. It's not.
From head to toe, you have to be prepared.
Everything.
Yes, yeah.
Even Donna, I don't know. I mean, like, I learned that those Uggs, and I would tease, like, my sister and I would make fun of it and say they're Uggs because they're ugly, but they actually keep you so warm.
Oh, they're the most comfortable.
Exactly. So yun. So I would say, like, invest in the right clothing. Know where you're going, know the temperature and how bad it can get, and just be prepared for it. That's what I would say with my learning.
Yeah. Now, among my Ovfabpinays guests, right? You're the only one who has returned to live in Philippines about 2 or 3 times, no?
Yes, 2 to 3 times.
So, can you let us know what it's like to live in Philippines again? What were your major adjustments, and what were the advantages as well of coming back?
Okay, so the first trip, I was still single. When I came back, so from California, went back to Toronto for a little bit, and then flew back to Manila. So that was my first ever big move back. So I was enjoying it because I had a lot of freedom, diba? Parang, you have dinner with friends. Whenever, I think we met up a couple of times during your stay there also. But life in the Philippines is how do I say it? It's fun. You can get to go to dinner. You after work, you can want to go hang out for a little bit for drinks. You can do that. I felt like I had so much freedom the first time, and traffic was not as bad. That was the one thing. Traffic was not as bad. It wasn't as polluted, and it wasn't as congested. Not just traffic, but just in general, right? You still had, and I lived in the south, and in BF, Alabang area, so it wasn't as congested. That's what I felt. So this time around, we moved in 2019, middle of 2019. We were there for a good year. Traffic was horrible.
Wow.
I mean, if you're so used to, getting from one place from point A to point B in like 15 to 20 minutes, getting a meeting done, and then leaving again. In the Philippines, you cannot do that. You might as well just have people come to where you're at, transact, okay, next hour, another person, but trying to hop from one place to another. That's what I found.
It's
was
hard,
yeah, it was so hard. It was, how do I say it? You're pretty much stuck, in terms of...
Or you can't do so much in a day, right?
Yeah,
if
so
you need to meet up with people, yeah.
Yes, right. So if you're like the type of person that, will say, okay, I'm free from 8 till 8, and you like to block it off and say, like, I'll go do this. You either just say, I'm just going to stay here, come meet me at this time. And then that's it. So,
I mean, I only visit, right? But one of the things that's always a pain, the past 2 or 3 years, when I had to go to the bank, it's like a whole day affair. I'm like, what?
Yes.
Why is that?
Why? Especially, should I mention brands? But there's this one particular bank that you go to, and you pretty much just stay there all day.
Oh my God, that was like driving me crazy.
Yes, right? When technically it should just be like, at most half an hour. But, I get you. I go, and I don't even, like, the second trip, no? So 2019 with the kids already. So that's already, like, it really changed everything. Like, game changer talaga because, you know, you have 2 kids and they're not like babies. They're like 5. Gabby was 7 and Michaela was 4.5. And, you know, they speak their minds. Mom, we don't want to go with you. Mom, why are we going here? Mom, like, you know, ang daming reklamo. And when we first moved back, I couldn't just leave them with the ates or the yayas because, you know, these are pretty much strangers. Yeah. So you're always like, you know, back of your mind, are they gonna run? Are they gonna take my kids? So I had to like start. Yeah, I mean that's like especially now that you have Tala, I'm sure you know, you're not just gonna leave them with somebody. And so to go to the grocery was a full day affair. Grocery lang, one. Not even like, you know, do other errands, but just doing the grocery and the marketing was a challenge for me.
But how about, you know, your social network, your friends, and family? Was there any, you know, difference that you're coming back from abroad and?
So social network, I wouldn't really say, but I noticed that people were busier. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like before that, hey, what are you doing? Oh yeah, tara, let's go, let's have coffee or whatever. And people like, you know, okay, 2 hours notice or, you know, lunch, and then you say, tara, let's meet up for dinner. You can easily plan. But I found that people were busier. It was harder to get a hold of people.
To meet up with people, yeah.
But we'd have to almost plan maybe a week ahead, which is fine. But I mean, unlike before na parang you just like, hey, what are you guys doing tonight? Tara, let's meet up. Okay, game, and then chill, right? And just sort of unwind. But people were busier in that's what I found. They were busier in general.
How about on the business side? Because some of my friends who have been living abroad for a few years, one of the things that they struggle with is still how people on the professional side, you know, still how they deal with people, you know, sometimes it's slower or more challenging. What do you think about that?
I think because of because of the way my business is set up, I've been online for about 5 years now. So I'm already used to transacting fast, like pretty much overnight, 2 days. But in terms of dealing with bigger suppliers, right? You still feel that. I felt it that, oh my gosh, can you just not return my call quickly? Can you just give me your cell phone number? Let's get this deal done over. So there's still that, how do you say? Hindi naman lag. I don't want to say lag, but
more relaxed. Relaxed. Yeah.
Yes, I find that they're so relaxed. So unlike here, people will easily say like, you know what? Here, let me give you my cell number so you can, you know, get in touch with me quickly, and we can deal. Like, you know, you'll deal things really fast. Send a quick email to sort of solidify it, and then you're done. Yeah. Parang done. I find that I have I don't know. Maybe because I'm just so used to using a mobile. Yeah. Parang I can't deal with having to call, press the local, and then wait, and then nobody will get in touch. So, oh my gosh, what's going on? So
high maintenance, yeah.
Oh, that was my biggest, and even until now, I'm still waiting for a call, not a call back, but an email back from one of my suppliers for the event in the Philippines this November. So it's such a challenge. That was my challenge.
It's really a lot of admin. Huh?
Or I think it's also big, I don't know, but yung parang feeling that there are layers, that hey, you can't just go straight to me, you gotta go to the person, and
hierarchical.
Yeah. And whereas I think when you've already worked, you know, you've worked in the US, you've worked in Switzerland and all those other countries, and you know, you say na parang, if you can get it done at your level, just get it done. Why do you need to pass it on to somebody else? And
yeah,
I think that although a lot of my clients actually work as virtual assistant, they work to support other other executives in other countries, so they're past that. However, those that are still working for the big countries, for the big companies, I think they're the ones that are sort of still stuck in that, you know, I am the boss, you talk to this, and I'll approve whenever. So that was my biggest challenge, business-wise.
Well, since we're talking about business, so tell us about did you always want to be an entrepreneur? How did you, tell us about your journey?
So I think that, like, looking back, it didn't, paano ba? It wasn't really like, I want to have a store. Like, I wasn't as clear as that, but I knew that I liked selling stationery particularly. I don't know if you remember back in Assumption, but I would sell those little punched.
I think you already started,
Remember?
yeah.
That one. And I always had Crayola markers. Like, I remember being teased, why do you always have to have so many markers? And I always said, well, because it's nicer to look at your notes when they're in full color versus just black, blue, and red or purple. And it wasn't always that quick. It became when I went on my second maternity leave with my daughter, the opportunity opened up. Na parang, you know what, I can, people are looking for this. It's available here. Let me send it back to the Philippines. That's where it started. And then people would say, hey, can you look for this? Okay, let me try. And it was working, no? And so that's what helped us through that 1 year of mat leave. Until it just became my way of life. That I was now looking for stuff that I liked, and then just the moment I posted, people will say, oh, I want one, I'll order. And then so one day I said, I think I really want a store. That's what I said. I was looking at the little merchant, the little inventory that I had in my office. I said, parang I want a store. And that year, I think by the end of that year, I did end up having a store in, is it Shangri-La? No, not Shangri-La anymore. We had an online shop, basically, is what I had. Carrying maybe 200 to 300 items.
Right.
But what I started with was actually doing a live sale. So I'll show an item, describe it, open it up, give a price, and that was basically what's really got my store going. And so that's now going, I want to say 5 years. The online store maybe 3 years long. But with my 30,000 followers, I mean, it's been crazy, and I enjoy it. So that's
great, huh? I mean, what a following.
Yes,
I wish I have that much followers also.
Yeah, but you know what? I did start with just one. And when people always ask me, how did you do it? How did you get to 30,000? I always say, I spent time getting to know my community. I did a lot of giveaways. I really put work into it. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. It happened over 5 years, but it's your consistency and it's your engaging, your moments of engagement with them, just really getting to know them and being genuine with your followers is really what got me, to build this community so big.
So this is the Crafters Marketplace.
The Crafters Marketplace, that's right, yes.
Okay, so apart from the selling of items, are there other things that are in, what else do you offer?
So we do, we used to do big events. I used to do at least 2 big events every year where I put together, I sell tickets for 100 people. I gather about 30 vendors, get them together in one place. But with COVID, that's all changed. So this is the first year that we're actually launching our online Christmas Craft Day. Wow. Where again, the target is 100 participants. They each get a loot bag sent to their homes, wherever they are in the Philippines. We'll ship it to them. And we will spend the day on Zoom or Google crafting, playing games, and just getting them to unplug. Sort of unplug, but still online, right? But unplug from their daily tasks in order to fill their cups, diba? Especially for women. And so from my engagement with my customers and my clients, I have little by little started mentoring a lot of them, actually, either going through marital stresses, or starting a business, or just trying to build a better brand for themselves. I have started coaching women, and so that's another side of of the business that I'm now putting my energies towards. Yeah.
Now, so you started TCM, as we call it, no? The Crafters Marketplace.
That's right.
When you were abroad. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting, what were,
my
what's this?
challenges.
Yeah. Well, not challenges, especially your base abroad, but it's thriving. It's mostly your audience is
Yes,
Philippines.
95% Philippines, I want to say, and
Mm-hmm.
then the rest of the world. I do have a few here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, number one, first of all, my challenge was the time zone. So for me
Mm-hmm.
to do a very successful sale, I would have to start around 9 in the evening my time and end sometimes at 1 in the morning my time, just to catch them at their prime.
Mm-hmm.
Or I would do the reverse, I would try. But in other words, patulog na ako dapat. That's the moment that, they're coming
Waking
alive.
up.
And
Yeah.
yeah, when they wake up, and then that's when they're asking everything. But through the years, I've met people that eventually became my virtual assistants. Imagine, I had some people I've never met. I was shipping boxes to them.
Oh,
I'm crossing my
wow.
fingers, but you know what?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of good people. I have never had an assistant that just ran away with stuff. I've been blessed in that sense that I have good
Mm-hmm.
people working with me and building the brand, building our customer service, our brand of customer service, which is, very, how do I say it, very customer focused, no? But how is it thriving? I think it's finding people who love the same things that I love. That was the key. My assistant for the longest time, she's no longer with me, but she was into everything that I love, from paper to stickers to the tools that we use to ink. And so it helped me because then she would, do the research and be like, hey, this is the latest things. So then I would go look for it, and we would always be first in the market, bringing, whatever was hot and hopping in the crafting world. So that's what helped, I believe, build the community.
Yeah, because it's hard, because if you're overseas, that's true. So, but then again, it's more of buy and sell kind of thing. Oh, well, you sell things, so
Yes,
you get
yes.
orders, and then it's actually good in a way, because you have your day to manage your day-to-day life as a mom.
Yes. And for 2 years, I was working a full-time job. I was working a full-time job. Yes, for the first, I think that was 2020. I want to say 2016, 2017. I was working full-time, actually running the marketing department for 8 restaurants. So can you imagine?
Wow.
I was talking from 8 restaurants within the week. And then at night handling that, and then coordinating with the Philippines, especially during weekends, was when all the things were happening. But the sacrifice paid off, because where we at right now, diba? Na parang no matter, we saw the pandemic, and then even during the pandemic, I did pause for a little bit because I felt that it was a bit insensitive to start selling.
Right,
But
yes,
what I found was that people were actually looking, they were looking for crafting materials as their way to cope with their anxiety, with their stress. And so when I was looking at the reports last week, and we actually sold the most for the month of June.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. But so it's heartwarming to know that like what I do, for a while I considered it as parang it's luho, right? Or it's not an essential item.
Yeah.
But looking back now, it actually is an essential item in the sense that it's helping people cope with,
Yes, it's good to have something else to, a passion project, a diversion, to disconnect and be more creative. So, do you recommend having a business in Philippines despite being based overseas? What do you think are the key success factors if one wants to do that?
Absolutely. I think that bringing back items or services to our home country, to the motherland, as they would call it, is something that's always very noble. Because, let's face it, we don't want that, parang, how do you say it in English? Parang naiiwanan. Ayaw mo naman mapag-iwanan yung country mo. Because syempre, diba, parang doon tayo lumaki, that's the values, So yes, I absolutely say, go for it. If you have And there are so many ways to go about starting a business with almost zero capital. Right? Unlike before, when you say, oh, I want to go into business, you almost think, oh, she's got to have millions,
Right, yeah.
to start. But now,
Capital intensive.
yes, but now hindi na, right? Like I know, for example, Potato Corner, you can even now franchise an online shop. Did you know that? I mean,
online. Wow. Okay.
Yes, I just learned it. So that now they're pushing, for you to sell fries in kits online. So basically, they'll get a bag with the flavoring, So that's how you're gonna sell and make your money. Key factor: you have to have people you can trust. Number one, and online banking.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Which I haven't sorted yet on my part.
Yes,
It's really hard without it. Yeah.
It's very hard. I mean, two key banks that I use are BPI and BDO. Not plugging here, but they're just the most. I think they have the most locations and they're easily accessible. But that was my major thing. All payments went straight to me. They would say, "Can we leave the cash?" I'm like, "No." So I'm very big on leaving cash at the office. Especially now, I have an office in BF, and I have my 3 girls there. But under no circumstance can you leave cash there, because then it'll leave room for, "Ay, ma'am, we used it for this, we used it for that," and then before you
temptation, yeah.
Yes. So then that way you don't destroy that trust that you've built with them, right? So trust and online banking and having an online online inventory system. I am very, how do I say it? I'm not a tech person at all. So I've learned to love Google Sheets.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that my yaya's daughter is very, very good, sa computer. And so she goes, "Yeah, I know how to use Google Sheets." Perfect. Bought her a tablet. And I said, "Here," I set up an account and I said, everything that arrives in the Philippines must be inputted on our Google Sheet. So I see it, like real time halos.
That's right? Nice.
The box arrived already. So there's really no room for me to say na, nawawala yung one item, because it's all there. But simplified and streamlined, definitely.
And on getting customers, how do you do that?
Getting customers, I have to consistently be live. Whether I am shopping at Michael's, whether I am opening a new package or a box, or just looking at trying out new products. I've noticed that when I am live, I will always get engagement from new clients.
Wow.
Yung old clients, they're easy to maintain. They're easy to They're easy to maintain because they've become friends. So sometimes they'll message you not even about a package. They'll just message you about random things in their lives, no? But I love it because with the live, no matter what time you do it, you're always bound to get a new name, no? So that's one thing that I will recommend to whoever's trying to build a community, build a following. I know in the beginning it feels, for lack of a better term, it feels dumb to talk to parang just like one person. But I swear I did that last month. I got invited to speak and there was only one person watching.
but still, yeah, that still matters, right? Yeah.
But that one person matters, and it takes, that's where you just have to start at one. So, but the key is consistency. Showing up consistently. Yeah. Yes.
So any more advice for our viewers or listeners who are contemplating on setting up a business while they're based abroad?
I say study the product first. When I did my business, I didn't do a feasibility study. I don't know how to do one of those. But it's also common sense. See, look at your product. Make sure you know your target market and how you're gonna reach them. And most importantly, know if figure out if your target market can afford what you're planning to sell to them. Diba? Kasi parang even if you know your target market and it's not a match with your product, then you're just gonna end up frustrated. So yes, there's still a little bit of studying and research that's involved, but no need for a grand big feasibility study. I think just be aware.
Yeah. Sound advice. And
Yes.
down to my last question, because we're hitting the
Okay.
30-minute mark.
Nice.
What came to your mind when you first encountered the phrase overseas fabulous Pinay?
Overseas fabulous Pinay. It was women empowerment. Kasi and you know, after that, Donna, no, especially when I looked through our questions, I started seeing more Filipinas na parang ay pwede siyang overseas fabulous Pinay, but they're just not in the limelight in the sense that parang she's a business owner or she's an influencer or she's this, no, but totally women empowerment. Why? Because we leave our home country, right? We start anew in wherever country we're going. And, you know, it's just a matter of months. I just say months or even weeks before you see that woman rising up and actually, you know, parang waving her bandila of I'm Pinay. And hindi lang fabulous. It's like, I can do so much.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's why, you know, wherever you go, Filipinos, you know, tayo, wherever we go, whatever company we start working at, talagang they fall in love with us because we are just, not naman for anything, but we are amazing workers.
We are, yeah.
Right? We don't count costs. We're willing to go the extra mile and really just, you know, endear ourselves to our employers and eventually to the community around us. No? So I actually want to congratulate you for writing that book and for spotlighting you know, Filipinas all over the world. And you know, I can't wait for you to be spotlighting all the other Filipinas around us.
Thank you so much. That really sounds very nice. So we do have some viewers.
Yes.
If you have any questions for Sunshine, please feel free to write them in the chat box.
Yes. Baka nga there's somebody in the chat box. I see Carlin. Hi, Carlin. How are you?
I think it's Cherry. Cherry is the Cherry. Hello.
You should have invited Tasha. There is. So go ahead, Dons. There's one. From
Hi, Cardine. Yeah.
Yes.
You're up next week. Huh?
Yes, next week.
Good. So if there are no more questions, I really want to say thank you, Sunshine, for joining my podcast. Thank you for your insights on being an entrepreneur and also your overseas experience. And I wish you all the best, you know, and with the Crafters Marketplace. And and also thank you to our viewers and listeners. And I hope you enjoyed the show.
Thank you so much, Donna, for having me. It was such a pleasure. Thank you.
Great. So thank you and see you again next time.
All right.